Hey guys, so I'm doing another tutorial today, and this time I'm actually going to be using nail forms. There's multiple ways that you guys can do nails. Some prefer nail tips, some prefer nail forms. I personally like playing in both. I feel like they both have their own pros and cons, but it really all falls down to personal preference, what you guys like. I personally don't like to over pinch my nails, so I kind of just like to apply my form and kind of leave like a natural curvature to them. I'm not a big fan of when they're overly pinched. So as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my acrylic. This is a newer color that we're actually adding to our core acrylic collection, I think sometime next week. I'm going to use it to actually create the extension. I'm going to shape it to the desired shape and the length that I want. And then once it's dry, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull it off. And once I actually pull the form off, what's going to be left over is just, I guess you could call it a tip. Like a tip made from acrylic. As you can see, like right now. Bam. There you go. So there's a lot of reasons some people prefer to do it this way. Me personally, I think it's best to get the form off as soon as possible, just because you allow your clients, a little more, what do you call that, flexibility with their own hands. Like they're not stuck with all those forms. They're uncomfortable. Forms are uncomfortable to have on. So the sooner you get the form off, the faster they can have their hands back to, go back on their cell phone or do whatever that they actually need to do. So moving forward, I'm just going to go ahead and start applying my design. I actually use a little bit of white acrylic to kind of create like a background for what we're going to be doing later on, which is pretty much staining this color towards the end of the actual design process. I'm going to apply my glitter and a few little designs here and there that I'm going to then encapsulate. But this particular design is actually going to show you guys versatility. The reason that I'm adding white here is a super cool technique. A lot of times customers come back with a permanent design and they want to change their color, and you're like, oh boy, now I've got to drill everything down and file it down and redo it. And with this particular method, you're actually not going to have to, because what we're going to do is we're going to use the white portion of the nail and we're going to stain it towards the end. We'll go ahead and talk about the staining a little more, well, a little later down the road. But for now, let's actually focus on one of the most important parts of the actual nail process, and that is applying our clear acrylic. As you guys know, applying clear acrylic is probably not one of the easiest things to do, because clear acrylic is usually a little tedious to work with. It's usually a little slower drying, but still one of the most popular colors available on the market for obvious reasons. Now, I've talked about how to properly apply clear acrylic in so many videos. If you haven't already done so, go right over to my YouTube, subscribe, and watch all of the videos. And I believe it was maybe the first or second video where I actually went over the actual acrylic application process, which is something really important, especially when you're doing these type of encapsulated nails that don't specifically have a smooth surface. As you can see, there's lots of lumps and bumps because of all the, crafty stuff we put on the nail, like the little decorations, hearts, stars, whatever it is. Okay, and we're almost done here. As discussed in previous videos, never apply your final pearl, which is the one by the cuticle, as wet or moist as the first pearls, because you need that a little more on the dry side, or else it's going to flood into the cuticles and that's just going to cause lifting. So again, we're just going to move forward with the filing, buffing, dusting this off, and now we're getting back to the staining. Now the staining is what I was telling you guys before. The nail that's completely finished and it doesn't need to be stained, but we're using this stain here to kind of add a color to it. So we're going to be using two different colors to add like a really cool effect, and then we're going to finish it off with a gel top coat after it dries. Now the good thing about this is that it was originally white. Now it's no longer white. When a customer comes in for their refill, all you would do is just file this off, and the stain would come off completely, and then you can restain it a different color. So this is a really cool technique, especially for people who have customers that like to change their designs often. Anyway, this is the end of our tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to go subscribe to our YouTube channel.